Before we get started with this next video, please have your internet bibliography form in front of you. You'll need to so we can talk about the 7 tiny boxes that are at the bottom of the internet bibliography form. Alright, let's go over the boxes and I'll give you an example so that you know how to evaluate the websites that you're choosing to use for your research. There are 7 things that I want you to think about when you're choosing a website for your research, and one is, does it have more facts and opinions? So we've already discussed the difference between facts and opinions, and you should have some clues or tip-offs as far as identifying what's a fact and identifying what's an opinion. Second box on your form says, does it have agreement with another source? So as you investigate websites and you read some of the facts that are presented, if you're suspicious about like dates and spellings and things like that, check with your other sources, and most likely encyclopedia and a book source will be more credible, more reliable than internet source. Not always, but you have to make sure there's agreement with your other sources before you decide to use it. All right, with these other ones, we'll talk about some examples with these other boxes on your internet form. I'm choosing to research the subject Dakota Uprising, and I added an extra word to search with. Timeline. I could have put quotes around my search, and I've decided to compare 2 different websites that I found on the results list. One is actually 3, Chronology of the Dakota Conflict, the Dakota Conflict Timeline, Time Toast Timelines, and U.S. Dakota War of 1862, Historic Fort Snelling. Now, just looking at the description and the title of the website, there are clues that give you hints as to whether they're good ones or not. For instance, I noticed right here it says EDU, so that means it's created by somebody in an educational institution. There's the word university, so possibly someone from a university has written that website. That's a good clue. That's a good one. Time Toast Timelines, really can't tell much at this point, so I'll have to open that up. And then we're familiar with Historic Fort Snelling, so that sounds like a promising one as well. Well, let's go to the one that I'm not so sure about, just to take a quick look before we go to the other 2. So I'm going to go to Time Toast Timelines. Even the title makes me a little bit suspicious. All right, it's loading up. Just a second. All right, so let's say I've read it, skimmed it at least, tried to identify if there's facts besides just opinions, try to notice if there are any facts that are inconsistent with other sources. And then I am looking for information that tells me that someone that is an expert wrote this. All it says at the bottom is it's copyrighted by Time Toast. There is no author mentioned. And I also notice at the bottom there is no date or copyright date. I'll look at the top. Okay, it's missing that. So I don't know if it's written by an expert or trustworthy organization. I don't know anything about Time Toast. Is it clearly organized? Yeah, the website's fairly simple to follow. The timeline itself looks like I would just click on these arrows to advance it. So that seems easy. Is it complete? Well, I'd have to spend some time to look at it if I can use it for a number of different facts. If I can only find maybe one useful thing to take a note on, I can sure fill out the bib card, but I might want to spend more time with a website that has much more information, that is much more complete. Does it have a bibliography? What I mean by that, does it have a list of sources where they got their information, whoever Time Toast is? There is no list of sources or bibliography at the bottom telling me where they got their information. And is it up to date? As I said before, there is no copyright. I am not able to check very many of these boxes on the bottom of this bib card form. I probably would not use Time Toast Timelines for my research. Although historic Fort Snelling, we're going to trust the fort. Waiting for it to get there. This is going to be a very reliable, credible source or place that is responsible for the web page. Taking a longer time to load than I expected. All right, finally it came up. So, Historic Fort Snelling, I noticed right away, the Minnesota Historical Society is responsible for it. So this is a very trustworthy organization. I have no doubts about the reliability of the information on this site because of the organization. So definitely will be a good site. It's obviously clearly organized, complete. If I keep investigating here, there's a long article. Also, there's links to other places on this website that could give me more information. Also right here are some links that I could click on. Related subjects are in blue as well inside of the article. Extremely well done website. And does it have a bibliography? It does list its resources, where it got the information that it's displaying or posting here. So, and is it up to date? Sometimes these copyright dates are hard to see or hard to find, but at the very bottom it says 2014. This site gets A+ in all of the 7 boxes here. It meets all of the demands of a good website that I have, so I would definitely consider this as a good source. And finally, the third one, this one called The Chronology of the Dakota Conflict. Now, it doesn't give a lot of extra information. It doesn't tell me anything on the page itself as far as who wrote it. Doesn't tell me where they got their information. It does link to another page that could give me that information, so I could click here on Dakota Trials homepage, and perhaps that will give me the author and the copyright, maybe a bibliography. So I'm not going to write this site off immediately, but notice it is lacking a lot of the things that we're looking at for a credible website. So you have to do a little more investigating to find out more about this page. If you are in doubt as far as if you should use a web page for your research, you're not sure about the author or the organizations that is mentioned, please ask us. But try to evaluate the website yourself first. And it is important to evaluate the website before you fill out the rest of the bib card, because you might decide that you won't use it in the end. How many of the boxes on the bib card form do you have to check off before you think it's a good site or consider it a good site? You might say if it meets 4 out of the 7 requirements, it's probably worth spending some time with. But that is a decision you have to ask yourself. But it's something you have to ask yourself after you consider all 7 items on our evaluation checklist. So there you go. Be careful. Make sure you choose websites that will help you and are trustworthy.